Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Recency Bias Radio, your number one source for everything Rant regarding reality TV. You all know one of my specialties, my wheelhouse, the original show I've ever covered was Big Brother, so it's only right that I provide you all with a recap of tonight's ET, Entertainment Tonight, 25-year anniversary special. And I gotta give ET some credit. You know, I had low expectations walking into this, and you all blew it out of the park, considering. Now, they didn't have Dr. Will part of this. They didn't have Dan part of this. But I think they did the best that they could with what they had, considering the circumstances. And considering the fact that they are coming through clutch with providing us live feeds. I think the majority of fans are just so happy to have Big Brother back that you're going to see a lot of fans, such as myself, showcasing a lot of gratitude towards not only Julie, Chen, but production. And that brings us to this rant, ladies and gentlemen, the expect the unexpected rant, a 25-year retrospection. You know, this is truly the anniversary of Big Brother, us, you know, because this is all about us, as in the U.S. To me, in my opinion, this is the flagship program when you talk about Big Brother on a global scale. What I appreciated a lot about this special was that it broke down things so the casual audience, the casual fan, can learn more, and hopefully, with more information, it will help them on their pilgrimage to becoming more of a super fan themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, please get yourself a cold beverage. Please kick your feet up, because here exclusively on Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism, we're going to break down why these 25 years truly is so significant to pop culture. We're going to break down why Julie Chen truly is the GOAT host of them all. And we're going to break down why I'm so excited for BB25 all in one. Here exclusively on RBR, where no one is safe from criticism.
Inside when you're not there, weight of the world on me, I don't care. I wanna taste of your freedom. I wanna taste of your
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be right for me to return to the public without the intro you all have become accustomed to. I go by many names. You can call me Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, Smith Dog Trill, The Rant God, Hotep Thanos, Throne Thanos, Metro Kaiba, the Pro Black Prodigy, the Shadow Realm Shaman, the Pronoun Punisher, the No Sleep Assassin, He Who Cannot Be Cancelled, the Apex Analyst, the Pivoting Prophet, all of the above on that ISAT test and ACT, here to bring balance once again back to the BB streets. You know what it is! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have taken this channel to a whole nother platform. We are now in the galaxy, and this is truly where we deserve to be, out here where all the big stars shine. And ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't be more excited to provide you all with a recap of this 25-year anniversary special, because let's be honest, not every content creator has the credentials to even give their opinion on this 25-year special, because a lot of these creators didn't even watch this show until the cookout was incepted. Okay, so you all are here to hear a true Big Brother historian's opinion of the narrative that ET created for the masses. And in this rant, I'm going to do my best to provide you all with the content you all want to hear. So, first things foremost, I want to start off this rant giving true appreciation to Julie Chen. You know, in this special, Julie admitted to us she almost didn't host Big Brother. It almost went to Meredith Vieira. Not only that, after the first season, a lot of people weren't feeling this show. Understand, they adopted a European-type mindset initially. I was unaware that Big Brother initially was in the Netherlands. It was initially in Germany before it came on over to U.S. soil. And only a month before Big Brother 1 was about to begin was Julie offered the position. And aren't we all lucky she took that chance? Because understand, Julie Chen had ambition. She was working for CBS News, but her eyes were set on 60 Minutes. Julie Chen bet on herself in ways I can respect as someone who in this specific genre has also bet on himself, who has also broken down barriers for others to follow behind. And what I always like to reiterate is the idea that when you're one of the first to do something, there isn't that many people in front of you can copy from. So it makes your job much harder to pull off. Julie Chen didn't have all these Big Brother hosts that were just out and about, that she could figure out some type of a shtick or some type of a mantra or some type of a signature and then fall into that little bag of tricks and then become a household name. Julie had, for all things considered, she had a brand new intellectual property. Americans were not into the same type of stuff as other groups of people are. So it had to be entertaining enough, it had to be messy enough, but it also had to have some depth to it. And what Julie provided at that time in the early 2000s, I mean, let's really talk about it here. Julie is in such rare company. How many TV show hosts can you honestly say have been on with their show that has not been canceled for 25 years in succession? I really want to drive home how impressive this feat truly is. And I know we're going to have certain critics saying, well, Dave, she was married to the guy who was running the network. This may be true, but she still had to be the one who was part of so many memories that we had growing up. You know, BB6 was the season when I was a kid that truly made me into a fan. I watched it with my older brother. And this put me on this journey to where I am today, where I try to break down the game and simplify it. Even if it's complicated, I try to simplify it for the next kid growing up. So maybe one day they can pick up that mantle when they become of age, right? You know, it's the circle of life, as they say in Lion King. When I think back at all of the most memorable moments in Big Brother history, certainly this special covered a few. It covered a lot of interesting fights, even though I think certain fights like Rockstar versus Brett should have never been aired. Bailey versus Tyler should have been aired instead. But I know why y'all didn't air that. Y'all trying to protect Tyler's image because he finna be on Challenge USA too. But I ain't gonna expose too much of that. I get it, okay? At the end of the day, this is supposed to prop up every individual mentioned. It's not supposed to drag down any character necessarily. Hence why we didn't see them chime in on the Stone Age much. They pretty much glossed over the Stone Age, or the majority of the Stone Age, and they went to all of the Golden Age pieces of recent memory, and they went far back to when Big Brother, when I was a kid, was incredible. So I appreciated the fact that they spotlighted all the things that truly mattered, but at the end of the day, I must stress this. No other host, and I'm glad Derek Levasseur said this, no other host could have got us to this point. No other host. You know, and listen, we've all had moments where we took Julie for granted throughout the Stone Age, but we all can admit, ever since the Golden Age has come around, Julie has been a breath of fresh air. She has become, she has embraced her spiritual side a lot more, and she has shown her human side more. She has humanized herself. She's no longer just the chin bot. And for that reason, Julie, I appreciate you. Without you, we wouldn't have all of these who clone Tyrones. They clone Tyrones out here now trying to be the new you. So for that reason, Julie deserves her respect there. So I wanted to mention that. Julie threw some sneak disses at The Bachelor. She mentioned how Big Brother has more successful marriages than The Bachelor has. And when you consider the fact that The Bachelor is all about relationships, whereas Big Brother is mainly about the socio-strategic dynamic and trying to manipulate your opponent into getting an advantage over them, I also found this to be quite compelling. Because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, for this amount of marriages to exist in 25 years, it's impressive. I mean, Derek and Claire are now on that list. Also quite impressive. Congratulations to DX and Claire. I hope the Hannah Hive are coping well. But at the end of the day, Coach, what this really says to me is that we are moving in the right direction because we are focusing on the right things. In my honest opinion, they chimed in on all of the positive light, all of the positive things that Big Brother provides. They chimed in on all the things that the toxic stands that only focus on negativity don't want us to focus on. And this is all positive to me because when Julie is bringing up how George Clooney and Rihanna and all these different fans, Neil Patrick Harris, how all these people are in Hollywood during this writer strike. You know, it's very important that we have fans that are in Hollywood of the Big Brother game. Because this does nothing but further tell me live feeds are going nowhere. Because for those people in Hollywood, live feeds might be the only entertainment they have. You know, a lot of people in Hollywood don't really like watching other movies. They don't really like watching their own work. It's kind of cringy for them. They like things that are different, that are outside of their normal wheelhouse, their normal field. And that's why it makes perfect sense to me that someone who is a celebrity could love Big Brother so much. I mean, we saw it with Tamar Braxton. We saw it with Candy Burris. We saw it how they loved Big Brother so much. We saw it with Ricky Williams. We saw it with Lolo Jones, right? We saw it with Omarosa, right? We saw it with so many players. Marissa Jared Rigaker. That's a throwback reference right there for all the OG fans. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, Julie Chen, you deserve your roses, ma'am, because I'm aware that you took a huge risk. You could have cost your career by jumping into this new show no one knew anything about. You could have thrown your career into the drain. But by you taking that risk, by you believing in the product, by you pushing to the executives to upgrade that house the way you did, heading into BB6. Understand, I know a lot of us are growing tired of that same old house because we've had it for almost 18 years now. But understand, that jump from BB5 to BB6, if you weren't around for that time, you'll never understand how huge of a jump that was. Understand, that was like jumping from PS1 to PS2. You feel what I'm saying, Coach? That was like, you know how like now in present day, every game has good graphics. So even when you get a next gen console, it's not that big of a jump as it was when we were kids. Like when you went from N64 to GameCube, you saw that big jump. Now, some of it has to do with the fact that like we're older now. So maybe we just have less time to appreciate certain things. But one thing's for certain. The graphical jump of games in gaming's past were a lot bigger. And the same thing applies to the jumps in quality and production value that we saw from Julie Chen and all the people she was working alongside of throughout the 25 years. And this is another point I would like to hammer home. Now, we had a lot of funny moments during this, okay? For example, Big D, in my opinion, bruh, you did a great job during this special. You know, if Big D is the guy that's not being allowed on many television networks, if he's not being allowed to perform on the challenge, if he's being subtly kept from TV, I love the fact that they didn't keep him from this special because he is a member of the Cookout. Now, Kylan was currently filming the challenge while this was being filmed, so that's the reason why Kylan wasn't part of this. Let me state that, ladies and gentlemen. But outside of that, though, I thought Big D was really quick with the one-liners. I mean, he cracked a joke about how BB23 had the cleanest house in the history of the game in all 25 years because black folks refused to live in filth. I thought that was one of the funniest lines of the night, honestly. I thought that was hilarious. You deserve credit for that, Big D. That was classy humor, all right? There's something about Big D's delivery. When he's on point, he's different gravy. He even had a moment where he talked about how he almost took out Tiffany several times throughout BB23. How even though the Cookout was viewed as the most dominant, the strongest alliance of all time, which they were selected as during this special. Good on you, E.T. Good on you, Chinbot. But this led to Big D basically saying, hey, we weren't that strong because we almost turned on each other several times. And he's right. But that's also what makes them so good, right? The fact that they were all able to squash their ego and do what was best for them all long term. This is why I respect the Cookout, and this is why I am part of the Cookout crew. Next, I want to get into Danielle Reyes, who I believe outside of Big D was easily one of the funniest characters on this special. I mean, Danielle Reyes, she slicked through shade at Cody Calafiore. She said his move of taking Derek Levasseur to Final 2 was the worst move in Big Brother history. When I saw that come out of her mouth, I said, oh, snap. I'm like, yo, like, what's going on tonight? You villain dig me, coach. And something about that I like to see. I like it when alumni that are clearly all top tier critique each other a bit. Don't just suck each other off, or don't just give each other credit. You know, sometimes it's okay to be like, look, you're a great player, but you could have done this better. However, if I can play devil's advocate for a second, ladies and gentlemen, Danielle Reyes, Cody could create the same argument about your game too. You were prepared to take Jason Guy to Final 2 when you had no shot of beating Jason Guy, to the point where you had no shot of beating Lisa. In fact, Danielle, I can create the argument the same way you're hard on Cody for not taking Victoria to Final 2. This is my opinion of why you should have taken Marcellus to Final 2. You should have taken the black guy during the one season you knew for a fact he was more disliked than you. Marcellus was more disliked by that jury than Danielle was. I truly believe, even with the context of them knowing her diary room sessions, they wouldn't have rewarded Marcellus over her. I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second. So the same critique or criticism she has of Cody, it applies to her game as well, and I'm just here to provide some fair 50-50 critique here on both sides. But so that was a real interesting thing. They also showed us their favorite comps of the past. And see, the thing that I was paying very close attention to during this special was they're marketing BB25 to kind of be this huge like mosh pit, or this huge assortment piece or collage of all these seasons of seasons past crammed in together. I mean, you see the logo. A lot of people say it looks like heroes versus villains. A lot of people says it looks like BB Comics. I'm not really going to chime in on that, even though that green hand on the far right looks kind of crazy. You feel it? I mean, it looks like the Thing from Injustice. You feel it? Dig me, coach. All right. But with that said, though, who knows what this could mean? You know, could it mean that the beginning of the game will be split in 4 different teams? That would be similar to BB23. Could it mean we're getting 4 returning players? Because Julie said during this special, on premiere night, look very closely, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces. So am I supposed to assume we're getting some returnees and some rookies? Or are there just going to be some vets that will be part of the premiere night, part of the move-in, part of the initial competition to decide who has power on day one? That was my initial assessment there. I thought that was all intriguing. I like some of the comps they brought up. Pressure Cooker with Kaser, of course, from BB6, legendary. Please bring that back for 25. To me, you get to really see how badly people want it with comps like that. It's not based off, oh, I got a low center of gravity, so I can do this wall comp longer than you. It's not based on that. You know, Pressure Cooker is based on, hey, man, you know, are you going to be a target next week? You're never going to take your finger off that button. You're going to poop your pants before you let go of that button when you know you're a target next week. But that guy who knows he's safe next week no matter what, he doesn't want to show how strong he is mentally or how much endurance he has by winning a comp he doesn't have to or she doesn't have to. Hence why Pressure Cooker is so essential, because it forces players who are front running to expose how good they are by winning something they don't have to, a la Tiffany, who won an endurance she didn't have to during 23, or it showcases how good the player are because they decide to stay in cruise control, not win a comp they don't have to, and allow the, I guess you could say, the tempo of the game to keep going in the same direction. A great player, in my opinion, never wins an HOH they don't have to win. Winning comps for the sake of winning them with no purpose behind winning them is not great gameplay. Because the more you win, the more you're forced to keep winning to keep yourself safe, just like Michael Bruner was forced to do during 24. Hence why I personally believe Michael Bruner, while he was very competitive from a comp standpoint, I believe as an overall player, he may be a bit overrated now. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about the 25-year anniversary, not individual players. But I just thought it was interesting how they went out of their way to showcase Mecole during this special as being one of the more iconic players in BB history. I disagree with that vehemently. But with that said, interesting. So the other comps that they brought up, we'll get into the fights in a second. The other comps that they brought up, OTEV, legendary. BB Comics, legendary. They talked about how being a have-not is an essential part of the game. Personally, I would love to see you all bring back food comps, right? Just put the food comps exclusively on feeds. Let us watch one comp on feeds, right? Trust me when I say, if Big Brother superfans or casuals in general knew that you would be allowing us to watch every food comp live, it would make us be more invested in who goes on Slop or who goes on PB&J. All of these things are important, and I hope you all are listening to some of the suggestions I throw out there. I'm not saying I'm an expert and I know exactly what every fan wants, but I am saying I do think these small, subtle changes could be exactly what the doctor ordered. They said over $12.5 million has been given away to winners in the last 25 years. Very impressive statistic. I mean, I know Survivor is knocking that way out of the park because they give out $1 million a pop every time, but that still is impressive for them to have lasted this long considering. I would love to see the statistics for BB Can numbers. I mean, they probably just cracked over $1 million because they barely give out 100,000 per win. Now, let's get into the most shocking best fights. Now, I don't know what they were thinking with the Brett versus Rockstar thing. Mentioned that before. They showed Reagan versus Rachel. I agree with that. I think Reagan owned Rachel, something serious back in those days. But that was one of those situations where Reagan and Rachel didn't realize how much they needed each other. Both sides were being played against the middle, and the Brigade definitely took advantage of their naivete. Then we saw Keisha's birthday get highlighted. Another great moment of the last 25 years. A lot of players, a lot of fans, that is their favorite moment in Big Brother history, Keisha's birthday. Seeing Libra say, who wants some cake and all that stuff. Really funny moment. And of course you got Shannon versus Hardin when she took his toothbrush, scrubbed the toilet. Production stepped in and made her basically admit to that, which kind of ruined Shannon's game. I think by proxy it could have ruined Dr. Will's game, only because of Dr. Will's own brilliance was he able to overcome Shannon's blunder there. Even if he was the one who kind of gassed her up to do that to Hardin once upon a time. And Dr. Will ended up getting the last laugh on Hardin because he convinced Mecole, Hardin's ride or die, to eventually turn on Hardin anyway. So that's what makes Dr. Will's game so legendary. You know, he's kind of like the Enchantress from Suicide Squad. You give him enough time, he's going to convince you to do some sorcery. They talked about what was the best twists of the last 25 years. Project DNA Taylor was the main one who really liked Project DNA. Unfortunately, she referred to it as she called it the sibling reveal twist. That kind of exposed how much of a casual she is. She didn't even know it was called Project DNA. Then we have, of course, the secret partner twist from season 6. That was, of course, the iconic season in which Mecole was with Kaser. Mecole went at it with Eric, the firefighter. Man, great memories back in those days. And, of course, because this was more of a family show, they didn't showcase those fights between Eric and Mecole. You know what I'm talking about if you're a real fan. They talked about the coup d'etat from BB11 that had Jordan Lloyd's jaw completely drop. She couldn't believe what just happened, coach. That was, of course, when Dref Schroeder showcased the coup d'etat for the first ever time, which is what got Jesse Goddard out of the game. And then, of course, we saw the X's twist from BB3, and Julie said we just might see a twist like that in the future. Or at least she was hopeful we might see a twist like that in the future. I doubt we see that for BB25, but it would be interesting if they threw in at least one couple that were exes into the game just to make it a spicy dynamic. Then they showcased the iconic house guests of the past. They showcased Evil Dick for the pots and pans, of course, Dan Giesling for the funeral. I think it's a real loss here to not have Dan here to explain, more of Big Brother psychology at a high level. I think it was a real loss here to not have Dr. Will. If this guy's here hosting the round table, he should also be around for these type of moments. Maybe he was demanding too much money. I don't know. But one thing's for certain, though. I believe this special was a success, ladies and gentlemen. And, yeah, they talked about how there was 11 Big Brother babies made out of 8 Big Brother marriages so far. I love the Zingbot disses. But pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, I believe, without making this rant too long, because I want you all to go watch it for yourselves, and I'm definitely going to give you all more than enough content in August, but now I want to hear your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Did you appreciate the 25-year anniversary special brought to you by E.T., along with CBS? Did you like the things that Julie chimed in on? I saw Julie recently on social media talk about she's willing to host this show for as long as the fans would like to see her host it. Julie, I am someone who would like to think he has some influence. I personally believe you should never step down from this. I believe this is your baby. I believe only if this show is forced to be canceled should you step down because you don't have a choice. I believe when you are part of the inception of something that has been so life-changing for so many people, that is part of so many people's summers. I know a lot of people that are really disgruntled about the season starting in August. Some people have to go back to school, so they won't be able to enjoy the beginning of this season like they normally would have if it began in July. But I think a lot of fans that are even disappointed about this late start, I think now because the season's right around the corner, even they have come to the conclusion that, maybe this was for the best. Because by it taking longer, at least that means it will go longer into the fall, which means we get more Big Brother longer, which is all we really want. Because during this writer's strike, ladies and gentlemen, there's not going to be much competitive television to compete with. Hence why I believe Big Brother is probably going to tap into a new audience than it has in previous years. Probably since it hasn't since BB22, because that was during the lockdown. I believe CBS and Big Brother have a unique opportunity here to appeal to more people. Same way I believe the Challenge USA has a unique opportunity to appeal to more people. And the more people that this show appeals to, the more people buy Paramount Plus to watch feeds, the more likeliness that we get a BB26, the more likelihood that we get another Celebrity Big Brother season, the more likelihood Julie never steps down, and the more likelihood y'all get more Big Brother rants from me. So it's a win-win-win situation if you ask me. But those are my thoughts on this 25-year special. Now I want to hear yours in the comment section below. Please don't forget to, of course, like this video and share it with all of the fans of Big Brother that you rock with, Coach. Are you excited for Big Brother 25 in a week? I know I am, Coach. I can't wait for this cast to be unleashed, and the worst of first will be public as well. So that is another thing y'all can look forward to before the season kicks off. I'm Dave Smith with Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And here was my thoughts on the BB 25-year special. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in a week. Or, actually, I'll see you all, I guess now, in less than that for the worst of first. Until next time, deuces.